We're going to draw what's called a combination graph, and this example is about the amount of commission or pay that a salesman will get for selling different numbers of goods. We're going to have to draw a graph. On the bottom, our graph is supposed to go up to 4,000, so if we put his sales on the bottom, and we'll make that go up to 4,000, and up the side his pay. Now I've actually done this beforehand, and I think that a good scale is 2 squares for $100. Works out quite well. This is his pay. Now this is the pay schedule. So it starts off and it says for sales of 0 to 1,000 he gets paid at a particular rate, and we've got different brackets here where his pay scale seems to change. So we have to graph each one of these three as 3 separate lines on the graph. So let's start off with sales of between 0 and $1,000. Now we're told on sale for sales of 0, he gets paid 10% of his sales for anything up to $1,000. Well, if on sales of 0, he's going to get 10% of nothing, so he's going to get paid nothing. So for sales of 0, his pay equals 0. In other words, the point 0, 0 is on the graph. What about, according to this first line, what would happen if he earned the end of that bracket, if he earned $1,000? So for sales his pay, according to this, is 10% of anything if he sells up to $1,000. So his pay is equal to 10% of 1,000. You can do the maths here. Well, 10% of a number is easy enough to work out to $100. So we've found another point. I'll just move that up so you can see. We've found another point on the graph. That means that the point sales equals 1,000, pay equals 100 is a point on the graph. 1,100 is on the graph. Okay, now you can imagine we've got these 2 points on the graph, 0, 0, and sales 1,000, pay 100 is on the graph, and the more that he sells, the more that he earns between 0 and $1,000. It's going to go up in a nice linear fashion. So there's the first section of our graph. So what we're actually doing is we're kind of finding the end points of each section. The first section started at 0 and ended in 1,000. What about the next section of our graph? So on sales between $1,000 and up to $2,000. Well, let's work out how much he'd get paid if, according to this bracket, he sold exactly $1,000. His pay would equal, and it says at the top of the page here, sorry about ducking up and down, I think I'm going to have to do that. It says he'd get paid $100 plus 20% of any sales that are more than 1,000. Well, if he's selling exactly 1,000, he's going to get paid $100 plus nothing extra. So his pay will be exactly $100. So that means that we've found that the point 1,100 is on the graph. The next section starts at that point and goes on. Now we've already put the point 1,100 on the graph from here. So we'll probably find that we can shortcut this process a little bit after we've done this graph. There's probably no need to do all of this working out. So this next section, the second section, starts at the point 1,100 and goes up to, now what we have to do is say, what about at the end of this bracket? What about if he earned $2,000, or sorry, if he sold $2,000, how much does he get paid? Well, according to this, he gets paid $100 plus 20% of any sales that are more than $1,000. So his pay is going to be $100 plus 10% of anything he earns more than $1,000. Now if he's selling $2,000, it'll be 10% of that. Anything more than $1,000 will be $1,000 extra dollars he earns that's more than $1,000. 10% of 1,000. 10% of 1,000 is 100. Sorry, beg pardon, it's in this bracket it's 20%, isn't it? It says. Sorry, back here it says $100 plus 20% of any sales more than 1,000. So how much will you earn? 20% of 1,000 is 200 plus another 100 equals $300. So we've found that this particular pay bracket starts at 1,100 and the end point is when he sells $2,000 worth of goods and gets paid $300. So in other words, the point $2,000 worth of sales, pay $300 is on the graph. I'm going to put that on now. $2,000 gets paid $300 is on the graph, and you can connect them together with a straight line. Now we come to the third section of the graph, and that's for sales of more than $2,000. Now I'll have to move up again, I suppose. If I can. $2,000, but where does this section end? Well, the question actually asked us, if you read it, said draw the graph for sales up to 4,000. So we're going to make it sales 2,000 up to 4,000 and make that the end point of our graph. If the question didn't say where to end, you're just going to have to pick an end point for yourself for the last section. So it said go up to 4,000. Now on sales of 2,000, this bracket tells you, and let's just have a look at what it says. For sales of 2,000, you get paid $300. There's a point on the graph. The point 2,300 is on the graph. We already knew that though, because we'd already knew that the last section finished at that point. So the second section finished at that point, the third section starts at that point. So we're doing a little bit of work twice here. But where does this section finish? Well, we're trying to go up to sales of $4,000. So we have to work out how much he gets paid on a sale of $4,000. And it says he gets paid $300 plus 30% of anything more that he sells in excess of $2,000. So back down here, his pay will equal 300 plus 30% of anything more than $2,000. Well, if he's earning $4,000, if he's selling $4,000, then that's $2,000 extra dollars. He'll get paid 30% of that $2,000. And if you work that out, 300 plus 30% of 2,000, I think the answer is $900 he'll get paid. In other words, the point where we've got sales of 4,000 and pay $900 is on the graph. So let's go back and put that point on the graph and we can finish the graph. When he's selling 4,000, he gets paid $900. It's on the graph. Now notice the way the steepness of the graph goes up for each section. Just goes up in terms of steepness all the way. I'm not at all surprised about that because the pay rate was going up. To start off, he was getting paid 10% of his sales, then 20%, then 30%. Those commissions, those commission rates, correspond to the gradient of each section, and the gradient gets steeper as the rate goes up.